Well, I think it's pretty much, I don't know. I was talking to a guy in Kiss one time, Gene Simmons. He used to have another name.
Bob Dylan has spent more than 6 decades redefining what music can be: poet, rebel, wanderer, and visionary all at once. But genius rarely travels a smooth road. Now, at 83, Dylan looks back on the artists he admired, respected, and occasionally struggled to collaborate with. Not because of bitterness or conflict, but because artistry is personal, instinctive, and sometimes impossible to merge. These reflections, softened by time, reveal the honesty behind Dylan's creative decisions and the delicate balance that exists between admiration and incompatibility. Eric Clapton, When Respect Isn't Enough. Dylan always valued Eric Clapton's mastery of the blues, and Clapton held deep respect for Dylan's songwriting. Yet, admiration didn't guarantee easy collaboration. In the late 1970s, when Dylan turned toward gospel-infused music and spiritual themes, Clapton was caught off guard. Their musical languages, though equally expressive, didn't quite harmonize at that moment. A planned session fizzled out quietly, not from tension, but from the realization that both artists were heading in different sonic directions. Sometimes, the greatest sign of respect is stepping back. Joan Baez, a partnership that evolved. Few musical partnerships were as iconic as Dylan and Joan Baez during the height of the 1960s folk movement. United by activism and music, they became the voice of a generation. But when Dylan went electric and began chasing more personal, abstract songwriting, Baez remained firmly rooted in politically charged folk. Their split wasn't dramatic, it was simply the unraveling of a shared chapter. Time has since reframed their relationship not as a loss, but as a rare moment when two artists help shape each other's identities before branching into their own truths. Lou Reed, Quiet Distance. Dylan admired bold thinkers, but Lou Reed's famously blunt commentary sometimes created quiet tension. Reed's critiques weren't met with retaliation. Dylan simply chose silence, a response that reflected his belief in guarding one's inner world. They never clashed publicly, nor did they ever collaborate, but Dylan continued to acknowledge Reed's impact on modern music. Their relationship became an example of how two innovators can respect each other from afar without forcing a creative connection. Frank Zappa, Wit Meets Restraint. Frank Zappa's humor and razor-sharp intellect could dominate any room. During one encounter, Zappa teased Dylan in a way only Zappa could. Blending satire with affection, Dylan responded not with confrontation, but with calm, choosing reflection over reaction. It was a moment where two minds recognized their differences and simply allowed them to exist. Dylan walked away with respect for Zappa's brilliance, even if their artistic temperaments moved on separate tracks. Leonard Cohen, A Rivalry Built on Reverence. Dylan's relationship with Leonard Cohen was layered, part admiration, part gentle rivalry, all grounded in deep respect. They were two poets walking parallel paths, each redefining songwriting in his own way. Dylan often spoke highly of Cohen's precision with words, acknowledging a kinship that didn't require competition. Their silent dialogue through music became one of the great artistic conversations of their era. Michael Bloomfield, a collaboration that shaped an era. Dylan remembers. Michael Bloomfield, not with distance, but with gratitude. Bloomfield's guitar work on Highway 61 Revisited helped propel Dylan's leap into electric rock. Their time together was brief but explosively creative. Even as Bloomfield later followed new musical interests, Dylan held on to the memory of their shared transformation, proof that a short collaboration can leave a lifelong mark. Paul McCartney. Parallel greatness. Dylan and Paul McCartney never formed a deep creative partnership, yet they always carried mutual admiration. McCartney's melodic instinct fascinated Dylan, while Dylan's introspective poetry impressed McCartney. Their approaches were different, their energies distinct, but their respect endured. Sometimes history places two giants in the same era not to collaborate, but to push each other forward simply by existing.